Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Age of Calamity Character Showcase, and today we're looking at His Royal Highness King Rhoam. King Rhoam, he reminds me a little bit of Ganon from Hyrule Warriors 1 with the twin swords, because like really slow winds up with his attacks, but then once he gets the ball rolling, he just completely obliterates the competition. Extremely good dueling potential. His ability to break or create weak point gauges is very strong. The only thing really that really needs to be pointed out about King Rhoam is his gimmick. He switches between King and Hermit mode. Basically, the way that this gimmick works is that, let's just say you do a combo, you do a combo 3. If you do a combo 3, what's going to happen is that you can activate the gimmick, and then when you switch over to the next form, you're going to do a combo 4, or the final strike of the combo 4, with the next character. When you switch over and you're fighting against enemies, you also get a decent damage buff for that form, and then you'll switch back to the other character when you want to do another combo again. So the way that this works, essentially, is that if you're doing a combo 5, and then you switch to another character, you can activate the combo 6 on the next moveset. The combo 6s, of course, have always been known to expose weak point gauges unprovoked, and the way that it works with King Rhoam is that in his King form, basically the combo 6, what it does is it activates the weak point gauge immediately, whereas the Hermit mode, it does a large damaging attack before it activates the weak point gauge in the final strike that you saw just now when he creates the giant shockwave. The reason why I want to point this out is that if you're switching in between characters, it's important to be aware of when you're going to activate these. If you start doing combo 5s, and most of the time, like, starting things off with a Hermit might be the best idea if you're trying to interrupt an enemy's attack, or if you're trying to punish a weak point gauge and do more damage to it, or there's an enemy that's about to just come out of weak point gauge stun, then you can kind of activate them and then lock them down. Timing is key when it comes to using King Rhoam, but other than that though, he has insanely good dueling potential, does quite a bit of damage. There's not really much else I could say about him. If you want a character that's good for 1v1 potential, then he's definitely up there. Very solid, very fun, and has a fair amount of wave clear to go along with his combos 4 and 3 even. Okay, so like I said, oh yeah, the thing I want to point out about stasis is that you can dodge cancel out of it. Dodge canceling is very useful for the purposes of going for more hits, but if you press the strong attack button again during the stasis, you can reactivate it, and you will burst them down for some more damage too. So it is nice to have the option of just letting it be cut short or just going on ahead. So again, the beginning of the combo 6 for the King style will immediately interrupt their attacks, which is very useful for weak point gauge break purposes. Again, we're going to switch over. It does a fair amount, this final shockwave as well. Because it lingers for a little bit, you would be seeing quite a bit. If you time it properly, that shockwave will reactivate the weak point gauge, keeping them locked down again. I have stacked a bit of attack speed on him, but his ability to stun lock enemies isn't quite as nice as I would like it to be. That being said though, it is nice in the clutch situations, so keep that in mind. Here we go, gonna go for one hit. Let's go, yeah, just a regular combo 5 and 6. The 6 Hermit. Yeah, King Rhoam, he's a fairly self-explanatory character though. A lot of his potential just comes from the fact that you can constantly do damage. And knowing when to go between these forms is just something that's free for experimentation, I find. Oh, also something to point out too is that if you do a combo 6 and then you switch characters, they'll end up just doing a regular strong attack, so essentially resets. Okay, so what I did there is that I went ahead. The other thing I want to point out too is that the combo 6s, it is possible, I've done it a couple of times, it is possible to activate the weak point gauge, then activate stasis, but because of the delay, it doesn't work against every kind of enemy. I think the only enemy where it's consistent would be the Lynels, I think, but for Guardians, for some reason, they kind of fall out of it. I think Heatox can fall out of it too, but I think with Lynels, though, he pretty much has their number, which is great. Yeah, King Rhoam, great character overall, and it's nice that we have a character with a battle axe for a change. As someone that constantly uses two-handed swords, I actually find myself leaning towards axes like you would have seen with Camilla from Fire Emblem Warriors or the Axe Legion from Astral Chain. But other than that, though, we're going to go ahead and do one of King Rhoam's exclusive missions, and it's a fairly tricky one. We're going to have to use the rod, the magic rod, but that will also just give you guys a better idea of how he plays in high pressure situations when he's fighting against two enemies at once, because that's kind of an avenue where he doesn't quite excel in comparison to how he would in 1v1 situations. But we're going to go ahead and switch over to that right now. Okay, so we're going to be going to the Guardian Graveyard. I want to quickly double check. And the thing about the Guardian Graveyard is it does pit you against like 2 to 3 Guardians at a time, and Guardians can be very annoying. The thing about King Rhoam, and kind of tying in with the Hestu video that I did, the thing about the Guardians is that you'd think that with their ability to be kind of slow, to bring out their attacks, the fact that they have that going for them, that King Rhoam would be able to easily interrupt them. Sometimes he does, but that's usually if you get them alone and isolated. And like I said earlier in the video, when you activate the weak point gauge with a combo 6, you won't necessarily be able to lock them down in time. I think the Hermit form does that a little bit more consistently, since it's the constant hitting of the shockwave that keeps them stunned so that you have a little bit more time to activate stasis. But for King form, yeah, like it might not be as consistent, so we can't rely on that too much. The Guardians do quite a bit of damage. I don't think I'll do cooking. Maybe we'll... You know what? We will try to... Yeah, we'll do this without food, I think. I'll quickly go over King Rhoam's weapon. It's not terribly optimized. I gave him an additional 10% attack speed, which isn't really much in the grand scheme of things. I was thinking that maybe going for like more combo 6 spam with King form might be a good way to lock enemies down, but because it's not the most consistent thing against Guardians, I might as well just switch over to just focusing on special attack charge rate, which gives him the much needed invincibility, since he does such a good job of breaking weak point gauges with his combos as it is. So for the most part, special attack charge rate would be nice, and yeah, it's not maxed out either, but that's fine though. He does more than enough damage. This is like a base 73 damage claymore that I found on him, so yeah, he should be more than fine for damage output, so let's go ahead. Now, whenever I begin with King Rhoam, especially for this stage, I like to start things off with a combo 3, switch over, then you'll activate the spin, keep the enemies around. This particular map you gotta be careful for, because there are Octoroks that are constantly spitting stuff at you, and because this is very hard, most of the time those enemies are going to be doing quite a bit of damage to you, and interruptions are something that King Rhoam does not want, because he needs those combos to get through. Okay, I got myself a saved up special, and do you know what? We might as well actually take the time to preemptively, because I know that the battle's going to take us further on in the map, so we might as well make our lives a little bit easier preemptively. I never thought about this before, actually. We should do this. Again, combo 3 into Hermit's combo 4, and again, just make use of that buff, really chunk your enemies this way. And there should be some Octoroks. I don't want to get interrupted at all from these Octoroks, and they do a really good job of presenting themselves, which is nice. Chop, chop! Ugh, and I love battle axes. Basically every fantasy game. I think I've said this before with the Astral Chain showcase last year, and same thing goes for like Fire Emblem. I tend to like axe-wielding type enemies, or not enemies, type players or characters in my games. Just like the heft of the axes. They tend to differentiate themselves from swords as well. Yeah, a lot of reasons why I like them, but I think that kind of boils down to it too. The fact that more often than not, whenever game designers balance out their weapons, they know that swords are going to be the popular choice, so they tend to like fixate more on those particular weapons, whereas the axes are kind of left alone. And usually they're left doing really, really awesome stuff, which I enjoy. Again, just clearing ourselves up here. Combo 5 of the Hermit into the switch is also very, very potent, again, because it just brings out the weak point gauge immediately. Here we go, send the shockwave while they're turned around. Oh yes. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm so happy. It's weird that the Hermit has been a character in this, but I'm okay with that. It makes very little sense from a story standpoint, but I'm okay with that. Okay, so these two Guardians are fairly weak. They will die very fast, but the amount of damage that they can do unexpectedly, I'm just not good at. So we gotta be careful. Run in a circle towards them, and then make use of that invincibility. That's the reason why, actually. I think for people that are struggling with this particular challenge, this would be like the best advice. Kind of fancifully go around, fight enemies before. Alright. I dropped the combo there. Okay, there's a big Guardian coming our way. Here we go. How am I going to do this? Actually, yeah, we'll just punish him. Don't need to go too fancy for this one. Yeah, let's do a combo 5, and then switch. This will do a fair amount of damage. Because these guys have such large, round bodies, the axe throw that he does is going to hit him so many times, so that's also very useful for breaking gauges for the big body type enemies. Alright, so we got ourselves to our first checkpoint fairly painlessly. We got hit by a couple of Octoroks, but that's okay, because now we're relatively clear. The thing about this particular section, too, is that we're going to be fighting in two Guardians at once, and it's going to be even worse if we had Octoroks constantly throwing stuff at us. And I may wish to consider... Oh, no, I mistimed it. I was hoping to get them both. Okay, wait, we have to be careful with this. Oh, man, I should have dodged forward. That's fine. Oh, no, we're doing poorly now. Okay, let's figure this out. While that's letting himself out, we can do this. Combo 5. And yeah, because we got them lined up, the combo 6 from the King should be a fair amount of damage. And hopefully this is enough to KO. This is usually the insta-kill animation, but it's not quite though. It's fine, we'll knock him over. We also have some more Guardians coming our way. Right behind this tree. There we go. Now, the other thing I want to note, too, about stun-locking Guardians is that as you chop off their legs, they do leave the typical animation. They do leave the stunned animation, which results in the weak point gauge disappearing. Okay, that was a bit of a rocky start, and we're fighting against an Electric Guardian now, as well as an Ice Guardian. I still got hit. Oh, I stood too close! Okay, he's gonna try to jump. Alright. We can try to make things back here. If I line it up properly, yes, it will hit the Ice Guardian. I think this kills? Not quite. Not quite there yet. I think if I did some food buffs, that probably would have gotten something. There we go. You can re-aim that shockwave as well. Here comes that stasis. And yeah, just do a typical combos for some damage. Basically, the thing about King Rhoam is that you can experiment all you want because his attacks do so much damage that you want to, if you need to fire off a strong attack earlier than you'd like, then by all means do that. There's nothing wrong with that because the damage switch that he does is pretty potent with that buff that he gets. Okay, stasis again. We'll react to what he does. And we're going to do a combo 5. And switch. Again, big body. It's going to hit so many times when he hits all those legs. And we're going to see how much damage we can sneak in before we can go for that weak point smash. Just get as much as we can while we can. Ooh, okay, he didn't break out that time. That's good. Oh, yes, that was perfect timing. That was perfect time. The moment he stepped out. And like I said, that lingering hitbox for the shockwave, very useful. Ooh, I almost gave it all away. Wait, they're lined up. We can do a special. This should kill this Malice Guardian. And we can just immediately switch over to the next one. Stasis. Combo 5. And then switch. Hit so many times. Perfect. And again, whittle him down. He is in the middle of a patch of grass, so we could potentially use a fire rod, and that could set up another stun. But let's see if we can do a repeat of that. I know I said it's inconsistent, but let's prove myself wrong this time. Oh no, I don't think I have enough time. That's okay, we can interrupt him. Oh no, he's running away. Again, because you're in king form, the initial strikes of the combo 6 are going to put him in stun. So this works out perfectly for us. Alright, locking him down. Go for some extra damage, why not? Style on him a bit, and then go for the kill. There's so much costume swapping with his animations. Swapping? Sorry, not swapping. Swapping. It's really silly to see him switch out of the costume only to switch back into the hermit mode. But yeah, King Rhoam, what would have been a very frustrating map can be done fairly easily if you have a proper plan. Obviously, managing the map, making sure that there are no distractions goes a long way. But once you get all those small enemies out of the equation, a 2v1, which is normally difficult for King Rhoam, can be managed quite nicely. And you'll do yourself a lot of favors in the long run if you just take that extra time to clear out the Octoroks early on. But anyways, guys, thank you very, very much for watching the King Rhoam character showcase, and we're going to be going into the big plot twist spoiler territory that I've been hyping up last week. But yes, the next couple are on the way. Hope you guys look forward to those ones. But if you like dueling potential, King Rhoam may be something that you like. If you like to feel the power of the heft of your attacks as you fight against your enemies, King Rhoam is definitely a good pick. But anyways, guys, thank you again for watching, and as always, I will see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.